I'm writing this because my mind won't settle, and I need to put everything in one place to understand what actually happened. If anyone else has gone through something similar, I'd appreciate your perspective, because right now, my thoughts are bouncing between denial and clarity. I've been married to my husband, Daniel, for almost 6 years. We've been together for 8. We're not a perfect couple, but I always thought we were good, comfortable, predictable in the normal married way. We had routines, inside jokes, a shared grocery list, a messy yet functioning life. And until recently, I genuinely believed he was loyal. Not because he was overly romantic or glued to me, he isn't, but because he always came across as steady, boring even, the kind of man who sticks to what he knows. I was wrong. Or maybe I missed everything I should have paid attention to. It started small. Things that didn't feel important enough to mention at the time. A few months ago, Daniel began keeping his phone face down. He'd always been pretty casual with it before, leaving it on the kitchen counter, using it in front of me, letting it buzz without rushing. But around February, he became almost protective. He'd take it with him even to toss laundry in the dryer. He'd get twitchy when I walked behind him while he was texting. I told myself it was work stress. He'd been handling a new project, and his boss was notoriously demanding. I didn't want to be the suspicious wife, so I ignored it. Then the late night started. Again, nothing extreme, just an extra hour here, an extra shift there. He said the project was behind schedule. It made sense on paper, and I wanted to believe it. But the odd feeling kept creeping in, that subtle shift in atmosphere you can't fully explain, like when someone starts closing doors they used to leave open. One Wednesday evening, the first real red flag appeared. Daniel came home later than usual. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't flustered. He was just distant, detached in a way I couldn't name. I asked how work was, and he gave this flat, fine, that sounded like the end of the conversation. Then, while cooking dinner, he got a text. His reaction was instant. He grabbed the phone so fast he nearly dropped the spatula. He glanced at the screen, locked it, shoved it in his pocket. It wasn't the action itself. It was the look on his face, panic paired with guilt. That was the first time I asked directly, "Everything okay?" He said, "Yeah, why?" in that defensive tone people use when they're hiding something. I let it go because pushing him never works. Daniel shuts down like a wall when confronted head-on. But something stayed lodged in my mind after that. 2 weeks later, I found the second phone. And honestly, the way I found it was almost stupidly mundane. I was reorganizing the hallway cabinet, the one with spare chargers, candles, extension cords, all the random junk that accumulates over years. Behind an old box of light bulbs was a phone I didn't recognize. A basic Android, not the iPhone Daniel always uses. It wasn't hidden well. It wasn't locked in a safe. It was just tucked behind things. At first, I thought it was an old backup phone, but when I pressed the power button, it vibrated. Not dead, not forgotten. It was active, and on the screen were 4 missed notifications from an unnamed WhatsApp chat. No profile picture, no saved contact name, just a number. My stomach dropped. Not dramatically like in movies, more like a slow sinking feeling that spreads through your body until your hands go cold. I didn't open anything. I didn't scroll. I didn't want to cross the line I couldn't uncross. The fact that the phone existed at all was enough. I sat there on the hallway floor, holding something that felt like evidence of a reality I wasn't ready to accept. I didn't confront him that night. I needed time to think, to avoid reacting out of fear or instinct. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Same angle, same dust pattern, same placement. And then I observed him for a week. Not like a detective, just quietly. He took longer in the shower. He stepped outside to make calls. He got irritated when I asked simple questions like, "What time will you be home?" He wasn't acting like someone cheating loudly. He was acting like someone managing two versions of himself. The guilt ate at me. The silence ate at me more. Finally, on a Sunday morning while we were having coffee, I just said it. "I found your other phone." His reaction told me everything before he even spoke. His hand froze midair. His face went blank. Not surprised, just caught. He didn't deny it. He didn't ask what phone. He asked, "Where was it?" That moment felt like my chest folded inward. I said, "In the hallway cabinet." He whispered, "Okay," like he already knew the rest of the conversation would hurt. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't break down crying. I asked the simplest question. "Why do you have it?" He stared at the floor for a long time. Then he said something I've replayed hundreds of times since. "It's someone I've been talking to, but it's not emotional. It's not like that." I asked, "So what is it?" He said, "A mistake." No specifics, no honesty, just a vague label meant to shut down questions. I realized then that the version of Daniel I thought I married, the predictable, steady, reliable man, was someone I had partly made up in my head. He didn't tell me who she was. He didn't tell me how long. He didn't tell me why. He only said, "I didn't want to screw everything up." But he already had. For the next week, things were tense, but strangely calm. He slept in the guest room. He tried to be helpful around the house. He made small talk like we were distant coworkers. He was trying to minimize the damage, not repair it. And that's what hurt most. Not the cheating, not the second phone, not the lies. It was the purely pragmatic way he handled it. Like it was an unfortunate situation he hoped would blow over if he played things cool. Eventually, after days of half answers and dodged eye contact, I pushed again. "I need the truth. All of it." He hesitated. Then he said, "It's been going on for a few months. She's someone I met through work. We talk. That's it, I swear." I asked if they met in person. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "No." My instinct said he was lying, or at least not telling the full story. People don't buy secret phones for casual chats. People don't hide their phones for harmless conversations. People don't act terrified when discovered unless the truth is worse than what they're admitting. He asked if I wanted to see the messages. I said no, because if he had already curated what I was allowed to know, the phone wouldn't show the truth anyway. We went to counseling. Twice. He said the right things. The therapist said progress takes time. I said I wasn't sure whether the marriage was salvageable. He cried during the second session. I didn't. That's when I realized something had shifted permanently inside me. It wasn't rage. It wasn't grief. It was emptiness. I wasn't devastated by the fact he cheated. I was devastated by the realization that I had been trying to build a life with someone who lacked the courage to be honest even when caught. A month later, I asked him to move out temporarily. He agreed without argument. And that more than anything, confirmed that the marriage had already ended for him long before I found the phone. Because a man who wants to fight for you, fights. A man who wants to stay, stays. A man who wants to be chosen, proves it. Daniel did none of that. We're currently separated. Not legally, not officially, just practically. He still messages me sometimes to ask how I'm doing. He still says he's sorry. He still claims he didn't mean for things to go this far. I believe the last part. I don't think he meant for it to become a second life. I think it started as boredom, then loneliness, then a boundary crossed, then another, until he was too deep in something he didn't have the character to end. The thing that breaks me is how easy it was for him to lie. How easily he could carry two phones, two conversations, two realities, and how easily he could look me in the eyes while doing it. People think cheating is dramatic, explosive, chaotic. It isn't. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's the slow corruption of tiny moments. A phone turned face down, a late shift that doesn't feel right, a kiss that feels slightly distracted, a silence that stretches longer than before. You don't notice the marriage dying until you're holding the body of it in your hands, already cold. I don't know what happens next. Maybe divorce, maybe space, maybe a long, slow attempt at rebuilding trust I'm not sure is even possible. All I know is this. The second phone wasn't the betrayal. The lies were.